Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Vampire's Curse. And of course, it is the featured cocktail in today's episode. We'll start with our shaker with no ice. We're going to add spiced rum, 1 1/2 ounces. Spiced rum. Not mad so far. Then we're going to add some mint leaves. Shit. And of course, I just spilled a bunch of spiced rum, so let's put some more in. Why not? Alright. So we got mint leaves in there. And then we're going to muddle until well incorporated, boys and girls. Next, we're going to add ice. Then we add fruit punch, 6 ounces. Three. Six. One and 1/4 ounce fresh lemon juice from the bottle. And then we shake. Then we're going to strain into our glass. And then we garnish with the mint leaf. And there you have it, boys and girls. The Vampire's Curse. Not bad. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
Greg is on a mission to see every Hammer horror film, and this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, Vampire Circus, gets us one movie closer to that goal. Set in the 1800s, somehow this movie still has a distinctly 70s groovy vibe. I think it's because of the male disco vampires. complete with their bejeweled choker necklaces. I dig the whole David Bowie vampire look, especially when we get to see their biggest assets. Their very impressive, extra long teeth. You were totally thinking teeth, right? Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong? You know, you had a very soothing voice through that whole thing.
That's what I do, Karen. How are you, Karen?
I'm feeling groovy, Greg. How are you?
Groovy. Okay. Awesome.
You don't feel groovy after watching this movie?
No, I'm fantastic, Karen. I got lots of thirsty work done today, so I'm fantastic. I'm not sure I understand the movie, but we'll get to it.
It's 1972 for sure.
Too many characters, Karen. Too many characters. That's all I gotta say. All right, but moving on. Was this film my choice, Karen, or was it yours?
Yes, it was. What film did you choose?
Film I have chosen is Vampire Circus, Karen, from 1972, a Hammer production.
We're getting through them.
Yeah, we're going to be getting through a lot of them because I think all the ones I got coming up are all Hammer films. I'm determined to get through them all, Karen, just so you know.
Why did you choose this film, Greg? Is it just because it's a Hammer film or is there something else?
Well, that's most of it, Karen, but it did come out on April 30th, which if you're listening to this when on the go live date, that was yesterday, April 30th. So this episode goes live May 1st.
Nice. Do you have a drink to go with it?
You know what that means, Karen? It's May 1st.
It's May Day.
It's the day after Walpurgisnacht.
Oh, of course.
You know what that means, Karen?
It's our anniversary.
It's our 3rd anniversary.
Wow.
Happy anniversary.
That's circus
Karen.
music.
Yeah.
Did you plan that all? Wow.
No.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yes. You know what the 3rd anniversary gift is, Karen?
No, but I'm sure you do.
Well, the traditional is leather.
Nice.
Did you get me anything in leather?
Well, maybe it's probably just sitting outside your door right now.
It might be. You know what the modern gift is, Karen? You will be very pleased, I'm sure.
Camera equipment?
Crystal or glass, like a lens. Maybe.
Lens, like a lens. Nice. I do.
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
sure it's sitting on your porch right now, just waiting
or a
for you to go get.
filter or something like that. Yeah, nice.
Yes, so enjoy that gift, Karen.
You enjoy yours too.
I will.
Thanks to everyone who's listened since day one. All 10 of you.
Yeah, I was going to say 5. So you're much more optimistic than I am, Karen. As you are. I would say you are generally, but
maybe a smidge.
So we're celebrating our 3rd anniversary and the 52nd anniversary of Vampire Circus.
Okay, how many movies have we watched?
This is episode 158, Karen, but we have done a few review episodes as well. So
it's really 52 times 3, right?
No. Because no, I don't go by the calendar. I go by Walpurgisnacht.
Yeah, but it's yearly. There's still 52 weeks from each. All right, he's shaking his head at me, people. We're going to move on.
We've done 158 regular episodes, and we've done a few review episodes where they're newer movies. So We're up to probably 100, and we've done Wicked Ramblings, and we've talked to people, interviewed them. So we're up to like, I don't know, 175 episodes, something like that.
It's a lot of movies. That's a lot of good time Charlies right there, Greg,
It is.
as my Nana would say.
If I'd have told you back in 1983 that you would have spent 158 Saturdays with me, evenings
That's
with
my
me.
joke. He's using my joke against me because he was a cool kid in high school and I was not.
I was not a cool kid. I was a band kid, Karen.
You were a percussionist.
That's
there was a
true.
difference.
It's different.
And you were a hood.
No, Karen,
Yes.
I was not. No, I wasn't. But you were a track girl. That's what I remember.
I was an Eagle, but also an honors student.
Of course you were, Karen.
Yes. Which hence the uncoolness.
I also have a cocktail, Karen, in case you're curious if I have a cocktail for this
Well, I'm
film.
sure everyone is curious what the cocktail is that goes with this movie.
Because that's what we do.
It is. What cocktail do you have?
It's called the Vampire's Curse, Karen.
Perfection. Did you know? You didn't know that going in, though, did you?
It's going to be perfection.
That
It's a vampire film and it's a vampire's curse. Yes, I knew it was going to be perfection.
Yes, but in this one, the vampire actually curses them.
I knew that.
No.
But it had nothing to do with my
Okay.
choice.
How do you make this randomly picked vampire drink?
So we're going to need 1.5 ounces of spiced rum, 6 ounces of fruit punch to make it healthy. Lots of vitamin C, I'm sure. 1 1/4 ounces fresh lemon juice, which I'm sure has vitamin C in it as well. And 3 large mint leaves. We're going to add the spiced rum and mint leaves to a shaker. Then we're going to muddle.
We
Karen,
do love a
until
muddle.
well incorporated.
Smells good when you're doing it. That's for sure.
It does.
The mint and the spices.
I might have spilled mine all over the bar and then had to like pour a bunch more rum in. I don't know.
It happens.
I couldn't measure. No point in measuring. Just pour a bunch in there.
Measure with your heart. It was with your heart.
Then we're going to add fresh ice to the brim. Then we're going to add the remaining ingredients, shake until well blended, and then strain and serve with mint leaf garnish, if desired. I did desire, Karen, because
I did too, but my mint leaf is looking pretty sad.
She would give our friends and listeners time to make their own vampire's curse.
Let's do that.
Yes, run out to the store and get some mint leaves. And then come back.
Go to your herb garden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could do that.
Yeah.
Probably if you started your herb garden early enough, it's probably coming up right about now. You might have some mint leaves that you could pick. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a synopsis for us? This film from 1972. You remember 1972, Karen?
Vaguely.
Me too. I was just a baby.
Sure, it was groovy.
I'm sure it was. I was a baby wearing my bell bottoms and
fringe vest.
yeah, as you do, Karen. I just wore what my parents put me in.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice.
No. Hi, Karen. Do you have a story to tell us?
I do.
Go on.
A circus setting is combined with an unusual vampire story in this hammer tale. In 1825, a mysterious circus visits a Serbian village cut off from the world by an outbreak of plague, and corpses start being found totally drained of blood.
We are a match, Karen.
It's not a good one.
It's good as any other.
But before we even start, I'm going to help all these geographically challenged people just like me, because in the film, it never mentions it's in Serbia.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me, Karen, when you said that.
I know. So Serbia is a landlocked country in Southeast Europe, which covers part of the Pannonian Plain and Central and Western Balkan Peninsula. It borders Hungary to the north, Romania and Bulgaria to the east, North Macedonia and Kosovo to the south, and Croatia, Bosnia, and Montenegro to the west. I'm sure that's very helpful to all the...
I heard Transylvania. Didn't I hear Transylvania in there? So
No, you heard Romania.
well, it's same diff. That's where Vlad the Impaler was, I think.
Yes, but in that area where vampires frequent.
Yeah, because the weather's perfect.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Or I guess the evenings would be perfect, isn't it? All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed about this film. I'm sure there's lots of things you enjoyed. Tell us.
Well, first, I'm going to say the story, although convoluted, is still interesting. The circus part of it reminded me of Anne Rice's interview with the vampire. There's a theater that they go to in Paris, and it's Theater of the Vampires. I think that's what it's called. And they do a performance every night where they kill people, but the people watching think it's a performance. So they're actually committing murder, draining these people of blood, but the audience thinks it's just a play.
Is there bare breast in it, Karen, in the circus?
Probably.
Anne Rice's thing? Oh, okay.
Anne Rice was not a prude, that's for sure. Not unnecessary naked dancing, no, but definitely. So it kind of reminded me.
Was there such a thing as unnecessary naked dancing?
That's true.
Karen?
Probably not. So I think the story's interesting. I think if you remade it now, I think it could be much, much better and much more interesting with better special effects. And I think the story's okay. I didn't hate that. Sets are good. It's a Hammer film. Clothes are good. Acting is okay. I mean, it's pretty much all on the same level, I think. I think one of the main characters, the school teacher, looked like what do they say on the memes? If you ordered Tom Cruise from Wish, he kind of had that Tom Cruisian look to him a little bit, the school guy, the school teacher guy. I wonder, and I know Hammer's kind of known for the sexy, erotic stuff, which this definitely is. But I'm wondering if this is one of the first films that makes the vampire very sexy instead of sophisticated and noble, which is what we get with Christopher Lee and Bella.
Are you saying Christopher Lee's not sexy, Karen?
He's not to me, not at all. But
all right, moving on.
But these vampires are very sexy in a 70s kind of way. We've
done others that didn't have Christopher Lee in it that had.
But were they pre this?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they were. This is pretty late in the Hammer.
1972?
Yeah, I think it's pretty late.
But this is outright. They're shirtless. They're, it's more in your face than anything else that I remember.
In your face male sexuality. Is that what you're saying, Karen?
Well, just sexuality. There's all kinds of sexuality in it.
So Vampire Lovers came out the same year this did, or more or less. Countess Dracula, Lust for a Vampire came out the same year. Twins of Evil came out the year after. Satanic Rites of Dracula, Captain Cronus, Vampire Hunter came out afterwards. So
I'm just saying this might be the start of the vampire with the 6-pack abs. They didn't have them, but I'm saying it was a move in that direction. It was a pivot away from sophistication.
Most of those films I just talked about were focused on female vampires, weren't they, Karen?
Yes, they were.
But what's the one where the dude...
The terrible one with the windmill?
I think it was probably Lust for a Vampire. Yeah, that's the one where the dude in the windmill.
Wasn't that
younger vampire
the
guy.
Wives or something? Didn't that have wives in it or something? And we thought it was going to be about women, but it was actually about him. I don't know. But
Vampire Lovers. That's what it was. Yeah, Vampire Lovers.
But he wasn't the same. These guys, I don't want to get into what I didn't like right away, but these guys were the epitome of sexy in the 70s. The chokers, the whole gig. The other times they're kind of sexy they still look like they were in the 1800s, sort of. These vampires did not look like they were from the 1800s.
No. Or they're circus folk, Karen,
Okay.
for the most part.
But that's all I really have that I liked. It's not one it well, what did you like about it?
Well, it's a Hammer film, Karen.
How many
Why?
Hammer glamour girls are in it? Any?
Funny you should ask, because right before we started, I pulled out my Hammer Glamour book and started looking them up. Because there's a bunch of girls, there's a bunch of people in this film, Karen. And there's only one that's in the book, who is the circus ringleader,
The
gypsy
gypsy.
girl. Yeah. She's the only one in the book. So the others, even though, we saw plenty of their assets, were not in the book. Or at least a couple of them, we saw plenty of their assets.
Which is, this is rated PG
It is.
on Amazon. As I got into it, I was a little surprised by that.
I was as well. I was pleasantly surprised.
With no
Karen.
warnings. There's no warning that any of this is going to assault your senses.
I know, Karen. I could have used that warning. I wasn't quite prepared for my senses to be so assaulted.
So what else did you like besides it's a Hammer film?
Well, like you said, the costume, it's a Hammer film, so the costumes are great, the sets are great. That's pretty much it, Karen, because this is not my favorite Hammer film. I'm just gonna say.
I'm just going to say again, I think it could be remade and made
Oh, I agree.
much better.
If someone remade it, I'm sure it would be fantastic.
It's got a lot of good elements in it.
I agree.
Just somehow
it was all over the place, Karen, but
yeah, I don't know if it was
I'm
that
digressing.
or the time that it was made or what, but in some ways I really liked it, but in other ways I just didn't. I kept thinking this could be better.
Yeah, for sure.
And not in a we could remake it kind of way like Planet Nine or whatever.
We could remake this, Karen. Yeah.
But if someone who had a real love for the lore and did a kind of an homage to these types of films, I think it could be really good.
Special effects are pretty good, actually. I mean, the blood, of course, is Hammer blood.
Yeah, are we getting into what we don't like now?
No, I'm not. But the fangs are pretty good.
The fangs are really good, really long. And
yeah.
I was wondering if teeth whitening had come into vogue because everybody's teeth were glistening in this movie. And usually 70s teeth, especially, I don't know how many of the people are British, you're not going to get those.
It's a Hammer film, Karen, so lots of them.
I know, but generally that's not what, in the 70s, everybody was still smoking. And they had, it almost went ting when the camera went on their teeth. But yeah, they had like double time teeth.
Yeah, they look good.
And all of the character, all the vampires especially smoldered. Like they had that.
There's only two. Well, I guess there were
four.
There were four. True. There was one female, right?
Yeah, but she did too. They all smoldered at the camera often.
As vampires do, Karen.
Well, they do now. That's why I'm just wondering if this was groundbreaking in that way. Because even the female vampires, the movies you talked about, maybe Twins of Evil was after too.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so, this is overt.
About the same time, Twins of Evil.
This is very in your face 70s vampire porn.
Countess Dracula with Ingrid Pitt before this.
Yeah, I guess that. But that's
what I'm ready to
all right.
I didn't like.
That's what you didn't like?
No, I was about to say something and then
okay, well, let's move on to that then. I will say the Hammer blood was Hammer blood.
Hammer blood.
Some of the special effects were a little, I'm sure it's 1972 special effects, so that's fine. But looking at them now, they're not great, obviously. I still want a Black Panther. I know I told the story where I was not a toddler, a young child.
With a rhinestone necklace.
Yes, pitching a fit in the Cincinnati Zoo, because literally throwing myself on the floor because my mother wouldn't let me have a Black Panther. My poor mother. As we kind of mentioned, the vampires, especially the two main ones, well, the count looks like a David Bowie ripoff or something. So androgynous and 70s sexy that he doesn't look like he belongs in 1825 at all. With his cousin, the one in the circus, little better, but still totally 70s. It's interesting that they killed the kids and it's still PG. I should mention, I thought the kids were pretty good acting wise. And I will say the makeup on them when they're deceased was also very good. They were very pale. I don't know what they did, but that looked good. It's just okay. None of the acting's great, but none of it's terrible. So you're kind of in this mediocre kind of movie, I think. What did you not like?
It's too many people in this film, Karen. There's too many characters. I can't keep track of who was who, which you will find out, boys and girls, when we go into it scene by scene. I don't know what I'm talking.
I didn't say any of their names. I described them by their occupations.
I don't even know their occupations, Karen. I know there's a professor and a school teacher, you said. I didn't know who it was.
There's a school teacher.
I know the only person I
Burgermeister.
know is the Burgermeister. That's the only one I know.
And that's because of the song we used to sing.
And there's a doctor and
Yes. But the rest of them, yeah.
I couldn't keep track of any of them. This film was missing Ingrid Pitt. Ingrid Pitt should have played the gypsy woman. Although Adrian Corey is fine, but we don't see.
So wait, who's the hammer glamour? The woman that actually plays the gypsy?
Adrian Corey is the gypsy woman. Yeah.
So not the wife.
No.
Okay. The gypsy.
I don't even know who the wife is, Karen. I don't know.
She transforms into the gypsy woman.
Later. Yeah. In the end.
But the actress actually playing the gypsy woman is the hammer glamour girl.
Yes, the hammer glamour girl. And she was in like 4 or 5 Hammer films. But she looks a lot like Ingrid Pitt. And
she does. Yeah.
Ingrid Pitt would do a better job, I think. Also, this film was missing Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Well, it definitely, I meant to say that. It doesn't have the gravity that their films had.
No.
It's campier.
Just one of them. I think Peter Cushing would be a good addition. Not so much Christopher Lee, maybe, but
they would have stood out so obnoxiously almost. We watched a film like that where Peter Cushing was in it and Christopher Lee wasn't, and he was so much better than everyone else.
Yeah, I think it was
I guess
Vampire Lovers or whatever the one we were just talking about.
You sort of miss the conflict between those two. I mean, you do have, like, in this one, they do kill the vampire and he utters a curse and then it comes around 15 years later. So there is that conflict. It's not random people coming around but
the vampire and none of the townsfolk are charismatic enough to.
It's true. Yes. For you to care.
To bring it home, to carry it.
I think the vampire was supposed to be, and maybe if he had a little more screen time or something, the Count, I don't know. I mean, they're all okay.
He looked like John Travolta.
70s.
Saturday Night Fever. All he needed was a white jumpsuit.
Well, he had the deep V pirate puffy shirt on.
Yeah. As you do, Karen. Yeah, way too many characters. Couldn't keep track of who was who. All right. Anything else you didn't like?
I mean, there's just some bad choices in it, but other than that, no, not really.
All right.
Do you have a review of the times?
Well, I do, Karen. Kind of.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
You'll see. But first, I have to tell you, this has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Really?
80% Rotten Tomatoes.
80%?
80%. What do you think Google users think?
That means those Google users are through the roof. 90%.
So close, Karen. 89.
Are you serious?
89%.
I went over.
You did. 1%. The review I have is from the New York Times, October 12th, 1972.
Why do people like this so much?
I really don't know, Karen.
erotic part of it. I guess maybe if I was drunk, I might have liked it.
You weren't drunk?
Not when I watched it.
You weren't?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what we did. All right, moving on. So this is from the New York Times, October 1972. And I'm only going to read the first paragraph because that's all that mentions this. So I should explain. This came out as a double feature. It was Vampire Circus and Countess Dracula,
Oh.
starring Ingrid Pitt, the lovely Ingrid Pitt. So this Vampire Circus and then Countess Dracula. So I think you see where it's going. So first paragraph, that's all I'm going to read. Wise horror fans will skip Vampire Circus and settle for Countess Dracula on the new double bill at the Forum. I don't like how he said settle. That didn't sound good. Both are Hammer Productions, England's Scream Factory, but the first was dealt a quick, careless anvil. With some care and attention, the Countess fares considerably better. He goes on and on and on to talk about Countess, but never mentions Vampire Circus again. So that's
It's
all you get.
obviously it's a cult film then. Like, because if it has that high of ratings, there are just people going on
It
who
is.
really like this film.
And I looked at Rotten Tomatoes reviews and other reviews from external sources for like when the DVD and shit was released, and people really like it for whatever reason. So,
There's something about it, like I said, that wasn't.
but the DVD release or the Blu-ray release is like 10 years ago from 1970. So there's some nostalgia to it, right?
True, and it wasn't.
They were saying like, oh, this is a much overlooked but great film from Hammer Productions back in the 70s or whatever.
Well, it's definitely kind of the epitome of Hammer 70s. Like, it's kind of a pinnacle, I would bet, in that, with it kind of like they pushed the envelope a little bit with it, I think. It wasn't hard to watch. It was just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It just
It was
sort
too
of was.
busy. Too
It
busy.
wasn't very good, but it kind of was good in a way where I kept thinking someone needs to remake this.
It had about twice as many characters as it needed.
True.
Just the right amount of bare breasts, though, I think.
Well, you can't always use two more.
Well, there's only 4 in it, but we see them over and over again when we see them. All right, what kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I think it's a 4.
I was just about to write 4 when you said that.
It might be your kind, like not meaning you, like listener, your kind of film, because obviously from those ratings, people really do like it. Just not my cup of tea, I guess.
It's not a bad watch to just if you want to just watch a horror film and not have to think about it and just watch it's like a mindless, you know what I mean? It's one of those where,
or if you're trying to watch every Hammer film, it's not going to drag you down.
No, if you're not expecting much, you just because 420 is coming up, Karen. I'm just saying. So if you like
if you like a good disco vampire, this baby's for you.
Just want to like veg out and put on a vampire flick and just sink into the couch. This is a good one, I think.
There's some surprising things in it, and
it's not Anne Rice. Yes.
There's a couple of surprises.
Never read Anne Rice, but I bet she's wordy because her movies are long.
She is wordy.
Right.
But in a descriptive, lush kind of way.
Lots of vampire porn in her novels, is there, Karen?
Not really.
Okay. Her vampires aren't sensual.
They are, but there's not porn in them.
Okay.
Not like True Blood.
Okay. I haven't seen that, so don't know. But maybe we will one day, Karen.
Maybe. I keep hoping.
All right, 4 cocktails. Are you ready to get into it scene by scene?
Let's go. Disco vampire. Here we
Good.
come.
All right, Vampire Circus, 1972, rated PG.
Which is just shocking.
That's PG.
It's not compared to other.
Yeah.
We've seen PG ratings on films where all they did was smoke and drink in them.
Well, they make up for the non-smoking and non-drinking with other things in this, Karen.
This
And we,
isn't a PG, but go ahead.
I'm sure you were thrilled by that very opening scene. Did you watch this on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did.
Oh, so you saw the guy hitting the gong in the very
Yes.
beginning? The big
Yes.
sweaty guy, yes.
Like the Tongan Olympian, yes.
And we have
I
credits.
thought you were talking about that it would open we're in the woods. Because it's a Hammer film.
Well, that happens. That's the next thing I have. Young girls in the forest, in the woods.
There was no horse-drawn, not carriage, but what do they call it?
As soon as it started, I was like, oh, there's no horse-drawn carriage right into the woods.
With the hooves pounding, but no. So there's a young girl in the woods, and then another woman comes up and leads her away, basically. And there's
I couldn't tell what was going on. I couldn't tell if they knew each other or not, or if it was mom and daughter, or aunt and niece, or sisters, or whatever. But a dude does follow, and I wrote next, not good, question mark. Didn't know, had a bad feeling. And then apparently he Count kills the girl, feeds on the girl.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's a young girl in the forest picking wildflowers. There's an older gentleman that could have been her father, but turns out wasn't, just kind of watching her. I think randomly, like she's playing and he's off writing poetry or something. He's the schoolmaster. And he just happens to see her. And then he watches it's still a young woman, but a much older young woman comes and greets
20-something, probably
young girl picking flowers, takes her hands and takes her off into the woods. This gives the guy a bad feeling. Well, it's his wife who has come up and taken the girl. And so they go up to the castle with some very large doors, and he's calling after her, Anna, but she closes the doors in his face before he can get to her. And he's crying outside for some reason. He's crying, please God, no, please God, no. And then we go into the castle where there's candles everywhere and a very fancy picture of the Count, which the young girl looks at. And then he pops out of the painting, basically, is what it appears. And he appears in front of her. The girl gets scared and runs to the young woman. And this is where I say he's wearing a very deep pirate ruffle shirt. And then he goes up. I say he's very androgynous, this vampire. And then he plays with the braids. The little girl's name is Jenny. He plays with her braids inappropriately, I said. He's unbraiding her hair. And then the young woman who brought the girl there gets
inappropriate because it's so sexual, I guess.
Yes, it's sexual. But he's about to bite the young child, and the young woman gets very excited.
Anna, right?
Yeah.
Is that Anna?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's
the wife of the professor?
The schoolmaster.
Okay.
And then the schoolmaster goes back to the villagers, and they're talking about all the missing children. And he's trying to gather the troops to go to the castle.
Yes.
That's before the biting and killing and everything.
Yeah. And I have 2 bare breasts, Karen. That's what I have.
Well, but before that, he's gathering up the villagers for the mob mentality.
I think that's after, because then after 2 bare breasts, I have a man trying to get the others to go into the castle with him to save his wife and daughter. I thought it was his daughter, his wife and daughter, but apparently it's not.
It's his wife, but not his daughter.
Okay.
And I do say we see quite the fangs. I wonder if those are supposed to be phallic or something in this movie.
And I think someone says maybe your wife wanted to go.
I know they do rag on him a lot, because I think, what does he say? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, the one man says maybe she wanted to go. It sure looks like she did want to go. So Anna, who is his wife, really loved watching the Count bite the child, and then she loses her dress immediately. So you're right.
Yes,
Right then,
she
just
really
her dress
enjoyed
just
that.
falls off.
And we see more of her breast. And angry
Because
townsfolk.
we get a montage
Rush
of
in.
relations, kind of.
Yeah.
Because the Count leaves his choker on, his diamond choker.
And the young girl is killed.
Yes.
And the townsfolk attack, but the Count kills them one by one. Finally, one of the guys puts a stake through his heart.
Yeah, they do go at him one at a time. And it's the schoolmaster who finally stakes him.
And with his dying breath, the Count casts a curse on the village. Count is dead. Rejoice, I wrote. They rejoicing.
So the Count is dead. Anna's naked. The schoolmaster gives her his shirt so that she can cover up. But yeah, he curses them, the town and their children.
Carry the young girl out. And then I think I wrote, Hannah is beaten.
Well, they're going to burn the place down. The father of the young girl wants to kill Anna. And then one of the guys says, oh, this will be much better. And it looks like he's taking his belt off, like he's going to do something horrible. But then they make her like run a gauntlet, like we used to have the spanking machine. But they start whipping her and beating her. And she starts, oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, to her husband. So he does make them stop. And then she spits on him and runs into the castle, which I thought was rude. Is this your first time listening to the Scary Spirits podcast? Or maybe you're a regular listener, but missed a few along the way. No worries. Not only can you find every episode on our website, scaryspirits.com, but you'll also get to enjoy awesome show notes too. I just want to say we really appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the show.
Anna runs to the castle, and then we have the rest of the credits.
Yeah, so it took this long, which is what, over 12 minutes or something to get to,
I don't know,
to the actual title of the film.
Didn't even make a note. And we cut to the town, and I guess they're bringing the dead out through the town. Throw out your dead! There's a guy carting the dead around.
They blew up the castle with gunpowder, I guess they had. And everything's on fire. And she drags him down to the crypt, the dead Count. And he whispers to her, go to the circus of the night to his cousin Emil. He'll know what to do. And then he dies. Then there's burning everywhere. And then the credits. And then we see seasons change. Like it snows and then it's fall and then it's spring. We see the seasons changing. And then, yes, we go to the village and bring out your dead.
And then it's 15 years later, apparently.
Yeah. And all the old men are in a meeting talking.
Yeah. All the old white men are town leaders talking.
Making the decisions.
And the doctor wants to leave and get medicine.
Yes.
He thinks it's some pandemic or some shit.
And all the old guys think it's a curse.
The curse.
So they're blockaded in, they said. Well, one of the guys says, because there's roadblocks, because the surrounding towns know that they have disease in their town. So they're not letting anyone in or out. And the doctor wants to get out because he thinks he can get medicine. But one of the guys says, they've blocked us in like lepers. And I looked up leprosy, which is also known as Hansen's disease. And it's an infection caused by slow-growing bacteria called Mycobacterium leprae. It can affect the nerves, skin, eyes, and linings of the nose. With early diagnosis now and treatment, it can be cured. That was a big deal in the Bible. So in Catholic school, you knew about leprosy because there were leper colonies that Jesus would go to where no one else would go. Because if you got leprosy, you got shipped off somewhere. And if you're wondering, Greg, if you can still get leprosy, you can. Yes, you can. It's rare, but it still exists. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 208,000 people have leprosy around the globe, with the most cases found in Asia and Africa. Now that everybody's asleep.
Thank you, Karen.
But they're blockaded in. Nobody can get in and out. The doctor is arguing with the old guys. They're saying it's the curse. It's the curse. It's the curse. He's saying it's a disease. I just need to get out and be able to get medicine. And that goes around and around a couple of times.
Then the circus arrives, Karen. Woohoo!
Yeah, the way people get in and out of this blockade, I'm not impressed with it. But yes, the music's playing, and what's the little person saying? A circus of nights, 1,000 delights.
Then we cut to the doctor and his son, Anton. And doctor's going to try to get past the blockade, and Anton's going to draw the fire so the doctor can get out, right?
Yeah, which is pretty brave.
So they do. He does get out, and Anton gets shot at, but he doesn't get killed, so it's all good.
But what does he do to let him know that he's given up? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think he has a white handkerchief.
Yes. The first mention of the usage of white flags to surrender is made during the Eastern Han Dynasty, which was AD 25 to 220. So that's a long time. But in the Roman Empire, the historian Tacitus mentions a white flag of surrender in AD 109. Before that time, Roman armies would surrender by holding their shields above their heads. A white flag was widely used in the Middle Ages in Western Europe to indicate groups of people who were not participating in battle, like priests and doctors, and also used to indicate an unarmed messenger coming to negotiate under a truce. So it's basically don't shoot, because it started off, I think, as kind of like the Red Crosses now, where you're not supposed to bomb those areas because they're not participating in the conflict. They're just healing the sick, like MASH and stuff, remember? But it turned more into an actual surrender strategy. But he was brave, I thought. The kid runs out, gets shot at, and his dad sneaks out the side.
Yeah. Then we get the circus in town, and I wrote Burgermeister. I don't know why, but I don't know, Burgermeister.
Well, doesn't he yell out, "What are you here for?" And the gypsy says, oh, he says, "How did you get past the blockade?" And they don't answer him. And he says, "Why are you here?" And she says, "They've come to steal the money from dead men's eyes." And that's when the doctor says, "If they got in, I'll get out." And then the whole thing with his son goes on. And then they come back. And then the circus is going on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they bring in the Burgermeister. They introduce him and his beautiful family. They give him like a place of honor.
Yes. And there's a wildcat tamer, Karen, dancing with a woman painted like a tiger.
Yeah, and I think she was literally painted. Do you think
she was painted?
Did she have a bodysuit on?
No, she was painted.
Yeah.
She had
a thong,
underwear
maybe
on, like a thong, yeah, but they were her bare breasts.
I said, well, and the way they were dancing and what they were doing was basically, it looked like reenacting relations, kind of. And I go, this does not seem appropriate for the children, who are all sitting raptured by it.
They dance, I wrote, and then he strangles her with his whip.
And it's like, this is kind of funny. I think she's supposed to be the tiger. I go, that was weird. That was my comment.
And then Anton arrives, the doctor's son. The next thing I have is a Black Panther turns into a dude.
Well, the schoolmaster asked Anton,
Emil, right? Emil.
Yeah, if his dad got out, and he says yes. And then they talk about Dora, who is the schoolmaster's daughter. And he said he told his dad to tell her to stay away because he loves Dora. And then they're going to bring out the Black Panther, which the gypsy does. And as the panther jumps, he changes into a young man.
Emil.
Yes, Emil.
So then I guess the performance is over and a woman's son is missing. Some kid's missing.
Yes, she freaks out. But then the guy, Emil, brings him back.
Saves him, and the mother kisses him.
Yes, inappropriately.
Kisses Emil?
Yes, on the lips, kind of passionately. And her husband was like, "Oh my God, stop embarrassing me. Let's go."
Is that Rosa?
No, when she brings the panther out and it jumps and then he flips, it's like a magic trick. and he changes from the panther to the man. He lands right in front of Rosa, and they have googly eyes at each other. And Rosa is the Burgermeister's daughter.
Next thing I have is Emil and Rosa and two more bare breasts. Emil bites her on the neck.
Well, he starts to, but he doesn't, because the gypsy says it's not time.
Okay.
And we see his teeth, but he doesn't do it. I think they're in the panther cage. And he did not take off his collar. Rosa's at home now, and she's very upset.
Yeah, she's pleading with her mother to let her go see Emil.
Well, she's pleading with her mother, let me run away with the circus. And her mother just basically says, oh, I can't say no to you. Okay.
So then we see, I wrote Darth Vader, because it's David Prowse, like the big strong man in this.
Oh, who has no lines.
He has no lines, but it's David Prowse, who was the personification of Darth Vader, the person that
that wore the suit.
Yes. Not the voice, just the suit.
Does he have an awful voice or something? Because he doesn't speak in this and he doesn't speak in that.
Well, if you can get James Earl Jones, I mean.
I know, but James Earl Jones could have been in the suit.
He's not as imposing a character as David Prowse.
He was a big, strong man. Yes, he looks very tall.
So I wrote, he reveals the townsfolk must die. Then we have acrobats. Are acrobats the twins?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are turning into and out of bats. I think the circus is performing every night. It's not very clear that time has passed, but I think every evening there's another performance.
And they're interested in the boy. I wrote they turned to birds, but probably bats. Like
they were bats.
And
they eyeballed the children, yes.
Yeah, Black Panther, and it turns into Emil.
Right in front of Rosa again.
Then we got the Burgermeister going into the House of Mirrors, or
Mirror of Life. So you get to go in and see the Mirror of Life, and they let him go in for free.
And he goes in and he looks through the mirrors, and he's very amused until he sees the Count feeding on him.
Yes. Well, they're funhouse mirrors, where they stretch you and all that. Of course,
vampires don't cast a reflection. So
right. And so until he gets to the last one, and you kind of see your future in that last mirror. There's 4 of them, I think.
And then Darth Vader carries him home.
Like, did he have a heart attack? He looks in shock or something.
I don't know. Then I have a little person helping a family through the forest, ?
It's almost like a procession. I thought the Burgermeister had died the way they were carrying him and walking through the streets, but he had not died. But upstairs in a building, it's the father of the young girl who was killed in the opening sequences. And the wife says, we need to get out of here. And he says, it's okay. I arranged it with the circus to help us out. Because they got in past the barricade or the border patrol, basically. And the circus, is going to pay them to get them out.
Yeah,
and
that's what I have. I wrote, they pass the roadblock. The little person wants to be paid. They pay him and he runs away. So I guess they pay the little person.
Yes. And that was to get them out of the village past the roadblocks.
And I have Black Panther again.
It's a husband and wife and one of their mothers. So an older lady.
Next
and there's something following them. You can see it. It's a bunch of ferns. Something's wiggling the ferns, and they get an ominous feeling, which they should, because
I wrote bright red blood.
Yes. Badly done hammer blood.
There you go. And I have the Burgermeister's delirious. Anton says there's nothing he can do. We're going to die.
He's going to die.
And then I have Mom tells Anton that Rosa was out all night.
Spending time with the circus man.
And she fears she was with the circus folk.
Yes. She wishes the circus had never come to town.
And we see Dora, I think, running through the forest.
Yeah, we didn't know it was her, but running with a suitcase she's running towards the village.
And there's a person walking towards her with boots that illuminate like eyes through the forest.
Yes.
Which is kind of a cool effect, actually.
Yeah, there's a couple of border guards looking for her because they saw her running that way.
Then she finds the dead bodies from earlier, right?
Yes, they're basically ripped apart. There's a head and different pieces all around, but she just puts like her shawl over it and lays down.
Yeah, collapses. Back to the circus. Dora's father confronting the spirits, ? I wrote.
Well, he's standing in the middle of the performance area. It's like, why are you frightening these people? And then something's answering him. Fear drives out fear as death drives out death. It's weird. This is one of those things that didn't really need to be there, but he's talking to no one. There's no one there, but something is answering him. And we don't know if everyone could hear it or it's just in his mind or what, but it's lit up with fire and, but it's where the performances are, but nobody's there at the time, not the audience or the circus people.
Then Dora reunites with her father.
As she comes into that area.
And we cut to the city leaders. They're worried about the circus. Anton tries to calm them down. Next, I have Dora and Anton share a moment. Are they making a love connection?
I think they already had one before she left.
Probably. And we got
But she looks about 12. I don't know how old she's supposed to be.
12.
She looks young. She looks 15. He looks like 18 or something.
She's 17 or something.
They're young.
Young love, Karen.
Yep.
Then circus, and I wrote Anton.
Well, Anton's defending the circus because he says it's the only thing that keeps people from brooding about death and disease. And the schoolmaster says they are death. But Anton's kind of defending them. Hey, when the kid was missing, they found the kid and brought him back. And he's trying to say they're not all bad, but the schoolmaster is saying, yeah, they're bad news.
Yeah, I wrote Anton and Rosa. I don't know what Rosa's doing, but who's the Burgermeister's daughter, apparently. Next I have is the animals are quite harmless.
What's happening is Anton and Dora are kind of having a moment, but they go to look at the animals. And then the twins approach. And this is kind of important. They're male and female twins, it turns out. I think we find out later, but they kiss inappropriately. But the girl twin is flirting with Anton right in front of Dora, touching his face. And then she says, watch this. And she sticks her hand in the tiger cage, and the tiger is like biting it. And the brother feels it. So he comes over and makes her stop. But that comes into play later, that they can feel each other's pain. And then the two little boys come to see the animals. And then the gypsy gives them a chance to go into the house of mirrors. No, mirror of life.
Yeah, even though they have no money. Yes.
Because they're brave boys.
And then the Count and Dora pull them into the mirror because they have no reflection.
Not Dora.
I can keep track of who was who.
It's the twins.
Oh, the twins. Yeah.
The twins pull them into the mirror because the boys are looking at them and they know they're behind them, but they can't see them. And the twins say, do you want to see how it works?
Yes.
And then they pull them in.
That's true. Then we see dripping blood on the Count, the body of the Count.
Yes, bad blood.
Then we have angry townsfolk looking for the boys. Find the boys dead. Hang on.
And there's some good makeup of their necks, I thought. It's not just two little bites. I mean, their necks are kind of ripped a little bit. It's a little bit more graphic than a lot of earlier vampire films.
I would agree. And then I wrote, the Burgermeister decides to kill all the animals, ?
Yeah, he goes a little crazy. He's losing his mind.
And the next thing I have is good animal
with him,
acting.
Huh?
Next thing I have is good animal acting.
It is, especially the chimp. They were going to kill all the animals.
They all play dead.
It's the Burgermeister and the father of the two boys that go to do it. And yeah, they go and start shooting. And you're right, all the animals play dead, so they kill the chimpanzee and the tiger. But they try to kill the panther, but when they shoot at it, it disappears.
Emil appears, right?
Yes. So he appears. So now Rose is between the Burgermeister, who is her father, and Emil, who is her lover. and he's pointing the father is pointing the gun at Emil, but Emil looks at him and he just goes down. He
has a
tries
heart
to
attack.
shoot him. Yeah.
And then Emil bites Rosa.
He takes her to the crypt.
Yeah,
then. Yeah.
And she falls onto the body of the count in the crypt, whatever.
And her blood is spurting out of her neck. It's going peep. It was kind of gross. Yeah.
We got the circus. Everyone invited into the mirrors of life or whatever.
Nobody hears Rosa scream because the circus is going on.
But Dora and Anton seem to be hypnotized and proceed toward the mirrors of light.
By the twins, I think they're hypnotized.
Dora walks towards the twins in the reflection. Anton
they're
tries
calling to
follow.
her telepathically. They're like, I don't know what her name is, Dora, whatever, but they're calling her. But they're calling her by her full name.
Mueller?
I don't remember.
Mueller?
Bueller.
But Dora has a cross.
So right about, yeah.
And vampires are repulsed.
Yes. And she falls out of the mirror. So Anton's outside looking for her, and then he hears her fall out of the mirror, and he goes to get her. They do come out of the mirror of life. They say it must be tonight. They have to do this tonight, Emil says. And then he says the mother will be there to tear the cross off the daughter's neck. And they all stare at the gypsy woman. So that's Dora's mother, who seems a bit upset, but not that bad. And then the doctor comes back.
So then we see the Burgermeister, and apparently he's gone. He's got coins on his eyes, I wrote. Right? To pay the ferryman.
Yes.
Then the doctor arrives back in town, and he tells them that there are vampires and the circus is filled with them. And Anton bars the door to keep Dora safe.
Well, and he also says he knows what the plague is. It's a strain of rabies caused by bats, carried by bats. So I don't know how much we've talked about vampire bats, but we're going to talk about them now. And rabies, actually. So how likely is it to get rabies from a bat? Most bats are healthy and contribute to our environment in many ways, particularly by consuming insect pests. We have them around our house. Do you have them?
Yeah, we do.
When we were kids.
Thought about putting a bat house up just to keep them.
We have one, but they haven't moved in yet. When we were kids, we used to wad up our white t-shirts and throw them in the air and think we were getting the bats to dive bomb us. But really what we were doing is running around in the grass. So the mosquitoes were all flying up and the bugs. And that's why the bats were dive bombing, because all the bugs were flying up in the air. We were such intelligent children.
You're just taking your shirts off and going topless and throwing them up in the air.
Yeah, you just said there's no unnecessary naked dancing.
All right, go on.
Less than 1 out of every 200 bats randomly sampled is positive for the rabies virus. How many people do you think, we'll say in 2021, that's the information I have, how many people do you think died from rabies attributed to bat exposures in the United States?
Died.
Mm-hmm.
113, Karen.
Little high. 3.
Well, I know it's pretty low. I mean, in the population of the United States, 100 people is pretty low.
It is. They do say they're vampire bats at some point. I think it might be a little later, but I'm just going to, since we're on bats, I'm just going to tell you there are 3 species of vampire bats in North America, but only a single species has been recorded in the United States. And where do you think that might be?
I think that's in Arizona.
That's a good guess. Texas. Vampire bats do not suck blood. They make a small incision with their sharp front teeth and then lap up the blood with their tongue.
Right. I know that.
They usually feed on the sick, the slow. They have amazing hearing.
Or livestock, Karen, really.
Well, the sick ones usually.
Okay.
They're the only mammal that survives only on blood. And if you want to know how they do that, they're sanguivores, which I thought I like that word. The only obligate blood-eating sanguivores
I'm going to put that in the world. Aaron, go put that in your files.
They have gut bacteria that are key to the bat's ability to survive on the vital red liquid. So it's gut bacteria that does it. Sanguivores. It's going to be the name of my band.
Are you going to sing?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Not
you played
unless,
it. I
not
didn't know you
unless
played an instrument, Karen.
I play. I'm the tambourine girl.
Okay.
I'm just backup tambourine, not even like real
All
tambourine,
right.
unless there's extreme auto tune.
All right. So he bars the door to keep Dora safe, and then
And she can't really remember anything. And
Emil and the gypsy arrive. I wrote. Everyone goes upstairs. I don't know. I know what
all
I'm
right,
talking about
so
now. So there's
okay,
screams, and Anton
there's
tries to follow.
there's Anton and Dora are left alone by the townspeople. The students are all upstairs because it's a school. So all the students are upstairs playing the
I
piano,
didn't even
laughing
know it
and
was
funny.
I didn't even know it was a school. I didn't
He
know.
does lock the door, put a board across it, but then when Emil and the gypsy arrive, there's an open window. So I don't know what that was all about. But the panther, Emil comes in, goes upstairs as the panther. All hell breaks loose. Everybody up there is dead. And Anton can't get in because the door is locked. And now Anton has been separated from Dora. So the twins come in and
Yeah, they're stalking Dora, right?
yeah. And she runs to the school chapel, which is a very cool looking place.
But at one point she has a cross on, so the gypsy woman doesn't
Oh,
attack
before
her
she
at one
goes to
point.
the chapel, the mother rips the cross off of her.
So then Dora goes into the chapel or whatever you just said, right? Climbs up on the top and she pushes a cross over and it impales
The
Helga,
the girl twin.
Yeah,
But the
Helga.
boy twin who can feel her pain also goes down.
Henrik feels it. They go. And the gypsy woman's hysterical, I wrote.
Because apparently those are her children too, but they seem older. I don't know if she meant vampire children or children, but she's not happy.
Then we see Anton ringing the bell in the chapel. All the white old men arrive, town leaders. Anton is reunited with his father, the doctor. Dora's father gives her a cross. Dora's still alive.
Yes,
I don't even
Dora's
remember.
alive. All the students are dead. And then the father leaves and gives her a cross.
And they must kill the vampires that evening for some reason.
So they go off to kill the vampires, but he leaves her with a cross.
And then I have Darth Vader breaks through the door.
He does.
And they try to ward him off with a cross, but it does no good. He ain't a vampire, apparently.
Yeah, they
He's
leave just a. I don't know who the woman they left Dora with was. I don't know who that was, but he just crushes the cross.
Then angry townsfolk decide to burn down the circus.
Yeah, and they do, but they find that the two dancers are dead. I go, oh, I guess they weren't vampires.
Darth Vader tries to stop them, but they shoot him and then hack him to death, I wrote.
They shoot him. Looks like a cannonball came out the back of him. It's like this huge hole in the back of him. And then they just pummel him.
So I have Emil and Anna in the
They're feeding on someone, and I don't know who it is.
on Gerda. I know who it is. It's Gerda.
Who's that?
I don't know. It's Gerda Hauser, Karen. Gerda Hauser.
Oh, that might have been the woman who. Oh, you know who that was? That was the woman they left.
I don't know. It's too many people in this.
Yeah, that's
movie.
who that. Okay, I didn't know who it was, but
that's what I have. Feeding on Gerda in the Hall of Mirrors, and then Anton is attacked by a little person.
Okay, so the whole town, they're all gathered, and someone said, I heard noise coming from here. They all start digging, but Anton went off by himself, and he hears something else and goes down. He finds the tunnel to the crypt, but the little man jumps him, and they fight a bit.
But he throws him, Anton throws the little person aside, and he gone.
Breaks his neck, yeah.
And then I have Emil bites the gypsy woman, and I think he meant to bite Dora.
He did, but the gypsy woman pushed Dora out of the way because all of a sudden she has a conscience. And instead of letting Emil bite her daughter, she pushes her, so he bites her instead.
Oh, okay. It's their daughter. Got it. Then Anton arrives and carries her out. Emil blocks his way. Anton holds a cross up to Emil. And then a bat attacks Anton, causing him to drop the cross. Angry townsfolk arrive and put an arrow through Emil's heart. But he pulls the arrow out, Karen.
Yes, he
So
does.
apparently not through the heart. And then Professor Mueller pierces Emil with the stake from the Count's body.
He takes the stake from the Count and puts it in Emil. And Emil does what a very dramatic theater kid death.
But then the Count's wound is healed once he pulls the stake from it, Karen.
Yes, it is.
So he rises and approaches Anton and Dora.
Yeah, and there's dead people all over this place now.
Anton uses his crossbow to form a cross, and the Count recoils. He then puts the Count's head in between the crossbow and decapitates him. He gone. All right.
Yep.
I had to rewind that because I didn't know what the hell happened.
I didn't know what happened. I just know his head fell off.
Very quick. Then they leave the tomb and set it ablaze, and a bat flies away.
Yes. So sequel. That's my
Yeah.
favorite kind, where the bat flies out.
Yes. Sequel potential, Karen.
Yep.
Is it a bat? Is it a vampire? Oh, who knows? All right. Anything we learned today? Well, first, Karen, what'd you think of our minty vampire's curse?
I am not a fan. I don't think mint goes with fruit juice. I don't know. Not for me.
An acquired taste, Karen.
I guess so.
It's different, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
All right. Sorry. I'm sure your drink will be better next time.
Probably not.
It's got lots of spiced rum in it, though, Karen. So can't complain. And vitamin C. Lots of vitamin C.
I think if it was lemonade, I'd have been all over it.
There's
mint.
A lot of lemon. I get the lemon in it too.
I know, but I just don't like the way it mixes with the fruit. So, of course, I mean, to be fair, I used red Gatorade, which is fruit punch. So that could be my problem here.
All right. Anything we learned today?
Let's see. Learned about why you use a white flag when you're surrendering, about vampire bats, about rabies and leprosy and Serbia.
Lots of good learning today, as usual, Karen.
Lots of good diseases. Gotta love it when we're throwing out leprosy. That's really gonna hook them.
All right. Anything else, or are we ready to move on to the next film, Karen?
I think we're ready.
Is it your choice?
It is.
Oh, what film have you chosen for us next week to enjoy?
I have chosen the 1987 classic Return to Horror High.
Any reason you chose this film, Karen?
I actually do have a reason. This will come out on May 8th. So if you're listening to it on the day that comes out, you've just missed George Clooney's birthday, which was on May 6th.
Is he in this film, Karen?
He is in this film.
I'm just waiting with bated breath, Karen.
He is in
Are you going to tie this together?
Horror High. That's
okay.
He is in the film.
All right. This facts of life, George Clooney.
Probably.
Do we have a cocktail?
Full on mullet, George Clooney. Well, if you know
about
George
Clooney themed cocktail.
Yes, sort of. If you know something
He
about
is from
George
Cincinnati,
Clooney,
actually.
he is. Well, the area. Isn't he from Northern Kentucky?
Yeah, I think
he is.
But whatever.
He owns a tequila company.
I'm sure he does.
He used to. I'm not sure if he still does.
I'm pretty sure he does still.
But anyway, we're making the
I see his damn commercials all the time.
Casamigos, which is his brand, tequila margarita. But you can use any tequila you want.
Casamigo.
Tequila margarita.
Tequila margarita.
It's a simple but sensational margarita.
I'm sure it is.
You're going to need 1.5 ounces of Blanco tequila, 3/4 ounce fresh lime juice, 1/4 ounce fresh orange juice, and 1/3 ounce agave nectar, 1/3 ounce orange liqueur.
Where do I get agave nectar, Karen?
I don't know if it's in the syrup aisle. That's, I think, where I got it. My kids use it instead of syrup.
All right. So it is a thing, apparently, because your kids use it.
Hopefully I still have some. To salt the rim, you use 1/4 cup of coarse salt and 1/4 cup of sugar.
So you give your kids alcoholic sugar? Is that what you do, Karen?
Agave nectar is not alcoholic.
It's not? Okay.
No.
Sounds alcoholic. Agave nectar sounds alcoholic to me.
You're going to combine all the ingredients in the shaker, shake vigorously for a 10 count, pour into a rocks glass with or without the salted rim, and garnish with a lime. This is a combination of salt and sugar on the rim, so it'll be interesting. And some people even grind a little of the orange rind in there too. This is from creativeculinary.com. You can just make any margarita you want. This is just the Casamigos one because that's George Clooney's company.
All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
Well, we should take a moment, Greg, and thank our listeners. We've had a bump in listeners last couple of weeks. Really stokes our egos. We don't expect it to keep going, but hey, thanks for listening.
Any minute, Karen.
We appreciate you taking the time when there's so many other podcasts out there, spending time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Well, I need to thank the people of the Buckeye State because,
Again? They love us in Ohio.
we're very popular in Ohio, apparently. And in the UK, apparently. So, wow, whatever. If you're listening in across the pond, thank you. We appreciate you. You are our people. And the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.